this homework help video, I'll just make some comments on the papers that are part of the assignment for this homework. There are 2 papers on Blackboard, and you have to read sections of them. You don't have to read the whole paper unless you want to. This first one, they talk about ducks, well, speckled eider ducks in particular, out in the Yukon, so actually it is sort of interesting to read that one. But basically it's not about the ducks, it's about the method of using hull. That's supposed to be a null, sorry. Better fix that. The title of that book, or that paper, is Null Hypothesis Testing, Problems, Prevalence, and an Alternative. And then you have to answer some questions. You don't have to read the whole paper, like I said, just the introduction and the conclusion. So the first part, it's not called introduction, it doesn't have a heading at all, but just read the first paragraphs and then go look at the conclusion, and you'll be able to answer all those questions. One thing you have to look up in the internet, but you can look that up. And basically, he's talking in this and pointing out that other people have noticed too that using this null hypothesis testing is widespread in science, particularly in like biological sciences. Physics, you don't use it, but you do in biological sciences, and decisions are being made on it, and it's questioned whether it is even relevant. The way it's set up, most null hypotheses are false anyway, and it's like, and that was one of the questions I asked you to answer and comment on. There's the law of the instrument, as they say. It's if you have a hammer, if all you have is a hammer, you tend to treat all problems like nails. And so there's a problem of overusing this null hypothesis testing. People learn it. Software is designed to help you do it. When you go to publish a paper, which is important in some academic areas, when you go to publish a paper, the publisher looks for you to have used null hypothesis testing. And he's saying that there are other ways. So I want you to do that just to get a, like I say, a healthy dose of skepticism. That's part of what you're studying here in statistics, you know, just to get an overview of the field of statistics, including when statistics are not giving you good information. He suggests some alternatives. One is Bayesian analysis. Everybody uses the word Bayes. Bayes was a clergyman, actually in England, and he developed statistics in England. And there's he mentions in there that it's computationally difficult. You know, it's really not that computationally difficult. I guess when you look at it, initially it might be, but actually it's very good. But when people want to dress up their statistics, they say it's Bayesian analysis, which many times it's not Bayesian analysis at all. They just pull that in to try to dress it up. But that was one alternative, and he has another alternative. You don't have to look at the alternatives at all. All I want you to do is look at that and notice that when you look at something in biology or in ecology, which people like to read those kind of papers these days, that null hypothesis testing not only might not prove the truth to their point, it might be the wrong tool, and that the scientific community is questioning it. So that just to give you a little perspective there. He doesn't say null hypothesis testing is wrong. He's just saying it might not be appropriate. The other paper is a many times quoted paper by Nestor, and it's called The Applied Statistician's Creed. And he's being fairly sarcastic throughout most of it, but I asked you to read the first couple, just the first introduction there, and you will see some things you have to rewrite from his paper. And then he has a little chart, and he talks about the emotional reaction to certain conclusions. And I wanted you to look at this just to remember that even though we have these quote-unquote scientific methods and these decision-making criteria, they're still being applied by people, and people have their own agendas and their own reactions. And it's just amusing to look at it and just to remember that people are part of the equation too. So that's it for the homework for this class, and I hope hope you got something out of the class. This is the first time I've taught this class, and first time I've taught it at a distance as well, and I've been really pleased with what everyone's turned in. I've been showing other instructors, not just your particular work, but how much work you're doing and how well you're doing it, and everyone is also pleased. So at any rate, keep up the good work, and thank you for the interest in this class.